everybody, to the Single and Stiletto Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I'm also the founder of Single and Stilettos. Today we have on our show Matt Adams, and he's a dating specialist at GoOutWithMe.com, and I'm so excited to have him here today because today, ladies, he's telling you how to approach a man without seeming desperate. So, before we jump into this topic, though, Matt, I would love for you to tell our audience how in the world you became a dating specialist.
I love this story. So I was in a bad relationship, and when I got out of it, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to create a relationship. So I took a dating class, and I went through about 9 or 10 weeks or so before I was getting about 5 new dates a week. And after that, the men in my life saw the results that I was getting and asked me to start helping them. So I did, and I started to take coaching a little seriously, but not too seriously. I was also in between careers at that point, and so I decided I wanted to go to cosmetology school because it was so different than what I had done in the past. And I signed up for that, and naturally the conversations just came up about the work that I was doing with men, and the women were fascinated. They wanted to know more. They wanted my help too. So all the things that I learned about men, or learned about women from men, I was starting to validate and get, real, tangible, one-on-one from the source confirmation of everything that I'd learned. So graduated from school, got into the salons, kept talking about the work that I was doing with men and women as far as dating and relationships go. And the women in the salons just encouraged me, get out of here, go be the dating specialist. We need help, get out there and do it. And so they encouraged me right out of that career and right into this one.
So they were basically saying, stop touching my hair, help us with dating.
Yeah, stop doing my hair, help me with dating. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, tell our audience how to approach a man without seeming desperate. Give us your first tip.
Okay. Well, first off, desperation is about neediness. It's about you needing something. That's never attractive. You're not going to bring anybody to you. You're not going to attract anybody to you if you're repelling them away. So let's curb the neediness, ladies. And the first thing you can do is smile. Okay? So if you're smiling, you're not needing anything from anybody. You're going to be bringing a good energy to him. So that's not really even one of my tips. That's just something I'm throwing in there.
Okay, well, before you go into your tips, then I just have to reiterate to my audience, because I can't tell you how many times I tell women this that I coach. You need to smile, and they don't believe me that that's what did Matt just say? It was the first thing he said before he even said the tips. Yep. It's the one thing a man looks for, right? Because you look approachable.
Yeah, and here's the thing. When I teach people, I teach the human mating process. Mm-hmm. What is that? Well, the very, very, very first step is noticing each other, right? Making eye contact, whether you're checking each other's bodies out or you're actually looking into each other's eyes. That's the first thing. The second thing is smiling, okay? And it's a form of, as far as body language goes, it's a form of submitting to the other person to show them that you're not a threat. Ladies, I know you've seen guys give you the creeper stare, right? You've gotten it. The reason he's doing that is because he's in the first step, and he's not logically thinking, oh, I need to smile, I need to show her I'm not a shark. You got to relax. A guy doing that, for one, he's just, his eyes are heightened, his senses are heightened, he's tuning into you. Don't be creeped out. I know without the smile it's creepy. I get it. But give him a little bit of a benefit here. If he's checking you out like a shark, he's interested. Smile at him, and then he'll probably smile back at you. And even if it's only to relieve the stress of the creeper stare, it'll work. Trust me.
Well, good. Okay, so we got smile. Now what's your first tip? The real tip.
Okay, and you hear me talk about this a lot, Suzanne. Give value. That's like the number one thing. Be funny. If when you have conversation getting going, be funny, have something interesting to say, tease him a little bit, flirt a little bit, okay? You have to bring something to him. You have to have this mindset of giving. So if you're going over there to get him, you're already wrong. You're already setting yourself up for failure. You need to go over there to give to him. Okay? And it's as simple as just being fun. Starting a conversation. Because ladies, you might not know this about guys, but their biggest fear is approaching. Okay?
I've told that to my audience 100 times, and they don't believe me.
Yeah. No, really, that's where it is. The guy's fear is about approaching, right? So a guy is going to love it when you approach and you bring something to the table. One, because you're taking the pressure off of him to approach, and two, because you've broken the ice and brought some fun conversation, flirty conversation to the table, and all the pressure is off him. Look, somebody's got to do this, right? Somebody's got to make the approach. If the man isn't approaching you, go over there and do it. Take the pressure off.
Well, and I just want to highlight one of the things that you said that I think is so key here, because I actually tell this to my male clients too, and I'm sure you do too, is how you said about first starting with the intent. If you're going with the intent to get him, you're setting yourself up for failure. And I tell that to my male clients all the time, because I had these male clients always say to me, well, I see a beautiful woman and I want to go out on a date with her. And I'm like, you don't know anything about her. Your only intent should just be to get to know her and
right.
see if you want to go out on a date. And
right.
I was like, like you said, you're setting yourself up for failure. So your only intent should be, like Matt said. I think that's a great, great point, because it takes the pressure off.
Yeah. Like, you need to be thinking, like, how can I add value to this guy's day? Maybe he had the worst day he's ever had in his life. And if that's the case, how would I cheer this guy up?
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so what's your second tip?
Okay, second tip is throw in some compliments. Men love compliments. It feeds our ego. You know how, egomaniacal we can be, right? It makes us feel good, right? And what are you doing there? Again, you're giving us good feelings.
Yep.
So throw out a couple of compliments, and have them be sincere. They can't just be like, oh, your eyebrows. Oh.
And what I suggest to my clients, because it can come across a little awkward, like when Matt's saying give a compliment, I don't think you mean, oh, you're hot or you're a good-looking guy, because then you're coming across as desperate and like, oh, I have to meet you because you're hot. But I will tell you, Matt is so right about giving compliments, because I've actually tested this myself, and I'll give you a couple examples of how I've complimented men. And like Matt said, they love it, and they will talk to you. What I compliment men on is their shoes. I have this thing about men's shoes. I'm not even like this fashion diva, but I have a thing about men's shoes. And so if a man's wearing nice shoes, I will compliment him on that, and men always appreciate that. But Matt's absolutely right, is you have to be sincere. Don't compliment his shoes if you're not into shoes, like I'm into shoes. The other thing that I compliment guys on is I have a thing about men's ties. If they have a really creative tie on or something that's not like the norm, I'll comment on his tie. And men love it when I say that. And I mean it sincerely.
Yeah, exactly. If you comment on his fashion sense, that's something he's put some time and thought into, and he's going to appreciate the fact that you noticed.
Right, exactly. I love that tip. That's great. Okay, so what's your third tip?
Sure. Tip number 3, touch him. Okay.
Okay. I'm laughing because I was like, wait, where's he going with this?
Right. And I say this because people feel like there's a barrier there. Like, I don't want to do that because, it might come off weird. It only comes off weird if you're looking at where you're touching. Don't do that, okay? But what I mean is, again, back to the human mating process that I teach, touching is like the next phase of acceptance. Yeah. So typically mostly it starts with the woman accepting the man by touching his forearm, just something like this, right? That lets him know that you are accepting him into your space, that you are okay with him being there, that you are even welcoming him into your space even further. And from there, the next thing you can do is touch his triceps, which are kind of back here, right? So the reason you want to do that is, again, it goes back to the human mating process. You're looking for strength in a man.
Mm-hmm.
So if you touch him there, not only one, is it sensitive, he doesn't get touched there a whole lot. Two, you're going to be able to tell if he's strong or not. And if he is, you can compliment him on it. And again, that's a huge turn on for a guy if a woman tells him that, oh, you feel strong, like your muscles are well built. That's something he's put some time into at the gym, right? So, yeah.
You know why I'm laughing? Because I hear what my audience is saying is they're like, what, really? I have to compliment him on his muscles? I'm laughing because Matt is so right. I can't tell you how many men get really happy when a woman does that. It's really, really true. And also I can hear my audience saying, well, I feel weird touching a man that I just met. You have to do it in the right way. If he says something, this is how I've done it before, is if a man says something funny, touch him on the forearm like Matt said. And just, it's one of those things, it takes away that invisible barrier of we can't touch. Because a man's scared to death to touch a woman, not in an inappropriate way, but he's just scared because he doesn't know if it's appropriate or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. If the woman doesn't touch first, the man's afraid that he hasn't been accepted yet.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the fear about women touching men. You're afraid to do that because you probably haven't done it too much. You probably need a little bit of practice with that. That's what I'm telling the guys to do. Look, if women aren't touching you right away, then you need to start touching. And the way I teach it to guys is called social touching. It's the first phase of touching. You touch them socially with the back of your hand, with the front of your hand like this, anywhere on the arm and the exterior of the body, pretty much from shoulder to hand, that's acceptable socially. Back of the hand, again, hand on the shoulder, that kind of thing, that's okay. That's social touching. While I'm on this, the next step of touching is being playful touching. So thumb wars, stuff like that, high fives. I do this, I hate to say this, but it's really fun. You ever do the 3 dots on the arm, and one of them is the blind mouse and can't see where it's going, so you're using a pen. I'm describing this poorly. And you're just drawing a squiggly line. She says stop, and you're like, okay. And then the second mouse is, got 3 legs and he can't run quite right, and so you take the pen and you just draw like a squiggly line. And then the third one is deaf. So when you just keep going with that, because she'll tell you to stop, but the mouse can't hear it. So, but those things are fun. Like anything that was acceptable in 2nd grade is fun to do in that playful phase. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, these have been some great tips. So, Matt, tell our audience how they can find you.
Go to your web browser, okay, and go to gooutwithme.com. And you can check out all the work that I'm doing there.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Single and Stiletto Show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you like to view the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com. And if you'd like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. If you'd like to get our free ebook on the 3 secrets guaranteed to attract any man based on scientific research, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.